Hey everyone, it's Derrick Broze with the Conscious Resistance Network. I'm back in Texas, and I ran into a friend, Bigtree. How are you doing, brother?
Man, I'm really good, really good.
It's good to have you back here in the Houston area. It's been a while. I reminded you before, and I'll remind everybody, the first time Del and I talked, it was in Houston, 2015, vaxxed, when the screenings were going on. And
that would have been 2016. Yep,
and for those who might not remember, it was Houston where the film got censored after it was filmed at the Tribeca Film Festival. Houston's current mayor, Sylvester Turner, threatened to take away funding from the Houston International Film Festival if they dared show vax.
Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, that censorship was at a whole other level for me at that moment, but now
it's nothing, right?
I mean,
but the beautiful thing, I remember I was looking at the video today, kind of remembering that time, and I named our interview and the protest that I filmed because all the vax supporters, and really we have a lot of moms in Houston area who really care about this issue, and that was my first kind of introduction. We had people marching around City Hall, raising awareness of this. The screening you guys did, you had Councilmember Jack Christie come out, and he actually is supportive, and you had, of course, Andrew Wakefield with you. I mean, it was just a great turnout, and just thinking about that. So 2016, here we are, 2023. Obviously, the film has gone on to great success and censorship, and then COVID, the biggest thing that we've all faced, that this issue came front and center. Did you think 8 years ago, when that was going on, that we would be where we are now in terms of, like we were just talking about, the hearings, this issue being discussed in Congress across the country? Like, I mean, how do you feel about the landscape now?
I mean, I'm really excited about it. I would say, did I feel like we'd be, I had prayed we would be somewhere like this. I felt like when I got involved, when I decided to make Vaxxed, and I've told the story before of how I got into it. There's millions of videos out there about that, but I had a real sense that I was about to be a part of something that was really going to be a game changer in this conversation. And I remember, like last year, one of the big supporters that has sort of helped fund Vax and all that, called me and said, Del, you always know I believed in you, but when we were like working with the Vax bus and supporting your work, you said something. You said, I'm going to make, I'm going to make the vaccine issue the #1 conversation in the next presidential election. And she said, and you know what? At that moment, I said, okay, he's a little bit out over the tips of his skis, but I love it. He's got a lot of bravado. And she's like, I mean, it's not just you, but we are there. We are there. And this has become, and that was all that, and when I said that, when I wanted it to be the conversation, people were like, but I mean, there's so much attack. I didn't care how the conversation was happening. I don't care there's a lot of negative energy around it. Now people are talking about it. And once you start talking about it, you have to start backing up what you're saying. You have to start hearing from the bad guys, which I guess in the beginning was people like me and Andrew Wakefield and you, those of us that were challenging it. But now more and more, especially after COVID, people are going, wait a minute, I have to look at this story totally differently. And so we are in an amazing place. We really have, at the moment, 3 candidates that are not afraid to discuss the vaccine issue on one level or another. You've got Ron DeSantis that stopped the COVID vaccine in Florida, running for president of the United States. You got Donald Trump that originally was one of the first people to ever say he believes vaccines injure children. Not crazy about his vaccine, but I think that he will still say you believe you deserve freedom of choice. And then the most incredible thing is we've got Robert Kennedy Jr. that's not only running, but is running at a 20%, in the Democrat Party. I think if you polled him nationally, he's probably the front runner in the country. If you had an election right now that everyone was, a general election, I think that guy takes it. He's got so much of the middle listening. He's got so many Republicans. He's
definitely getting people listening who are disaffected.
No matter what happens, people are now listening to this conversation, and they're not getting away with censoring us any longer. They're saying, let the man speak. I want to hear what this is all about. It's an incredible moment to be alive.
It is an incredible moment to be alive, and so we're still, as far as the presidential election goes, more than a year away from this. Yeah. So we can assume this conversation is going to stay there as long as he's in the race, and he appears to be in it to the end. I know that you're a big supporter, and let's talk about that a moment. I mean, again, like the fact that there are, as you said, 3 different presidential candidates that have mentioned the issue to one degree or another, in one way or another, and we still have a year ahead of us of these conversations, and we're looking at people like Joe Rogan, yourself, and others who are platforming him and giving him an audience that, even though he is getting some mainstream attention, for the most part, it's very critical, attacking, coming from unfair, clearly biased angles. Do you think we're at a moment where all of that sort of alternative independent media, from the bigger to the small podcasts, are really about to kind of, through the campaign of Mr. Kennedy, do something that hasn't been done in terms of like overcoming the bias of the media, where the media tells everybody this is a bad thing, but then we're able to route around them and convince people, no, they're wrong, they're lying. I mean,
look, that's what this experiment is, right? I mean, that is what this is. We will know at the end of this election, season or whatever you call it, how big social media and how big, the sort of podcasting influencer space, or all, I hate alternative media. No, it's really the only real media, like people really telling the truth, where we're not working for sponsors and things like that. We're going to find out. I mean, certainly that's the strategy. The strategy is, you watch Robert Kennedy Jr. doing all these podcasts. You have to ask yourself, how is he polling so high when no one in mainstream media, I guess Fox is mainstream, but no one on his side, the Democrat side, really doing anything but attacking him. But we believe, and I believe that we have reached that place. I think we are moving enough hearts and minds and have a larger reach. CNN, I mean, look at these shows now. Yeah. They're doing what, 200,000, 300,000 views. I mean,
there's clips on Twitter getting 10 million views.
Right. I mean, every video that Robert Kennedy Jr. is putting out is getting millions and millions of views, and Highwire is getting 5 to 7 million views a week, and these are things that, and I think the hunger is there. I think people are starting to question. So, what I say is this: I have always said that there's not one single person that we can elect that is going to change the world, and if you're expecting that politics works that way, then you're really sort of in the dark ages of how this whole thing works. But as I've watched Robert Kennedy Jr., and yes, I'm doing whatever I can to sort of help, I realize that the only way he steps into office is if enough people truly wake up and realize their own power and use their own voices to share the message, because nothing in the machine, none of the machine is working for this guy. None of the mainstream places, none of the corporations are investing in him. This is literally, you are watching a man right now running and polling with almost no money, only on the voices of the people, through the voice of the people, through podcasts. When he steps in the White House, that will be proof that we have just evolved because humanity came together. Enough of us were awake enough to come together, hold arms, stand together in love, in a higher vibration of conversation, not attacking anymore. You're not watching him call people names or get into this, sewer mud wrestling game. He is bringing a very high and evolved conversation to everything that he's talking about. When he steps into the White House, God willing, we will know that the people did just rise up, and now we have a man that is speaking for the people. And I think that that's what's very exciting about it.
It's going to be an interesting next year and a half. I'm excited to talk to him myself soon and ask and pick his brain for my audience. I know there's some supporters, maybe others who are skeptical, uncertain. Clearly, so many of us have been burned through politics throughout our lives that it's hard to, and I experience this on the local level. As you know, I'm running for mayor. People, you talk to somebody, even if you tell them you're a candidate, there's a lot of people who immediately just associate you with every bad thing of any. You're a politician.
Look, you and I have done our jobs.
Be skeptical.
This is right. We've been saying, be skeptical. Be skeptical.
Things.
What I would also say though is, don't be so skeptical that you don't feel, do your research and look at the whole story. And when you look at someone like Robert Kennedy Jr., sure, we're all worried. Is he going to sell out? But look has he sold out on any other part you see in his life? This man fought for the environment, has won more cases trying to make sure our air, our water, our food is clean. But then when he got in this vaccine issue, he has been nothing but attacked for 18 straight years. It has destroyed really his legacy as an environmental attorney, one of the greatest of all times, which Democrats love. Democrats should love him, except for this vaccine issue. His own family has turned on him because of this issue. You would think if this is a man that walks away from anything, he would have said, I'm going to let this one little issue go because it's really just getting in the way of all the other great work I can do. You're watching a man with integrity like I've really never met, that stands in his truth and has on that topic. Whether you like that topic or not, what you do see is a man that sticks to his convictions, even when he is being constantly tarred and feathered for them.
Yeah. All right, Del, one more question before we wrap up. I've been watching lately and reading the emails coming in. You guys seem to have been having some recent victories, legal victories at ICANN. If you could briefly, what would you say are some of the bigger revelations you guys have come across? Because I know you're still digging through files.
Well, we are. I mean, and it's hard. I want to be careful because obviously we are getting more and more Pfizer data. That's still coming in. They lied to us in court when we were when Aaron Siri, our attorney, was in there and was fighting for the Pfizer data. They said it was this many pages, and so the judge set like 55,000 pages a day. We'll get it done in a year. Well, the year went by and pages kept coming.
Wow.
Now it's been discovered, and it went back to court that you lied. Not very good. So when the Moderna data was the next thing that Aaron Siri was going for, the judge just dropped the boomstick. They're now having to produce not 55,000 pages a day, a month, 200,000 pages a month. The FDA is losing their mind. They're irate. We won.
And these are pages that have not been seen by the public?
Never been seen by anybody. But you have to imagine that to have a full picture of what's happening there, we have to have all that data. I don't want to get too ahead of ourselves, because I would imagine they might try to trick us, show us something that looks one way.
You might get
a
piece of something that's incomplete without other data.
Correct. So there's a lot of very interesting things, a lot more deaths in these trials than anyone wanted to admit to, a lot more cases of myocarditis, things like that. Really, really shocking stuff. The biggest win for us, though, and the thing I'm the most proud of, is we just won back the religious exemption for Mississippi.
I did see that.
Which is, in this space, when I talked to Aaron Siri and we set on this journey together back in, beginning of 2017, we said we would know we turned the corner when we move in an offensive position, where we actually start, pushing back and moving back into freedom.
Not just being reactive.
Not just stopping a law from passing, but actually taking away something that they had and gaining ground. And we just stuck a flag in the middle of Mississippi, and they were the first state to lose their religious exempting out of vaccines. Now they've got it back. Since 1979, They haven't had that. We're looking at West Virginia next, God willing. And if we can set precedents the right way, we feel like that we can make sure that everybody in America has a right to opt out of this program. And that's what we're really working towards right now. Because no matter what you think about vaccines, all I really care about is that you have a choice. I'm not you want to do some voodoo witch doctor stuff, with your kids. You know what?
Have a choice.
It's a free country.
Yeah.
We all get to raise our kids, I think, the way that we feel guided, but I want choice, and you certainly don't get to force things on me that I don't want.
I love that, man. Like you said, however people feel about the High Wire or Bigtree, you guys are actually achieving victories. You're actually helping get data out. And to me, again, outside of any biases or personal opinions, the more data we get, the more information we get, the better that is for all of us. So thank you for the work.
I'm not here for the popularity contest.
Yeah,
I'm trying to get the data out there to the people. Do it what they will. There's great scientists we're listening to speaking today.
Yeah.
We just need more transparency in government. So
awesome. Thank you, brother, for your time.
All right.
Follow thehighwire.com. Till next time, remember, you are powerful, you are beautiful, and you are free. Peace.
Since 2012, the Conscious Resistance Network has been an independent media organization focused on empowering individuals through education, philosophy, health, and community organizing. We work to create a world where corporate and state power do not rule over the lives of free human beings. Our motto is leading by example and helping others in their pursuit of freedom. Visit theconsciousresistance.com to find our articles, documentaries, interviews, podcasts, books, and more. Remember, you are powerful, you are beautiful, and you are free.